Hey guys, this is going to be a little bit of a different type of review video than normal. This is just a little mini review. This was a set I was only able to use one time for a session of pickup. It was due to a friend of mine down here, who's a goalie, has this set and he offered to let me use it. So I figured I'd use the opportunity to just give a little mini review. I mean, even though I've only used it once, my experience with using a lot of Bauer stuff between that and using this the one time, I mean, there's a lot of takeaways I can tell you guys about from using it. Um, the blocker I've made videos on before because I did actually have a Mach blocker. Um, this is a Bauer Mach set. I had the Mach blocker and I did a video comparing it to the Hyperlight blocker. Now, while the Hyperlight blocker is my favorite blocker of any brand or model or whatever, my second favorite would be the Mach. So I just think Bauer in general makes the best blockers, and I like both of them. Hyperlight edges it out for me, but the Mach is a very good blocker. If you want to know more about that, there's whole videos about that. So I'm not going to talk too much about the blocker in this video. When you use Bauer equipment at this point, there's just things to expect. Like you expect really good seal, you expect really good sliding. The structure of the pad is gonna, create like a wall for the puck. Um, it's gonna be light, things like that. So, whether you go Hyperlight, Mach, or whatever, those are things you're gonna feel no matter what. The Mach is the stiffer of the two. The shape of the pad is much more of a straighter shape to it. So I knew, and I've used the Supreme line before. I knew going into it like this just wasn't made for me, especially the leg pads and the glove. I knew they're just not my type of gear. The style of it is not made for me. It's nothing against the pads or the glove in itself that there's something wrong with them or they're bad in and of itself. It's just not made for someone like me. But like I said, I'm always willing to try anything. So I still wanted to give it a go. And I was actually kind of surprised. Like, look, the comfortability, if that's even a word, comfortability factor wasn't there for me because of the style of the pad, and it's not something I would want to use for a long period of time or over and over again because it just doesn't feel comfortable with me using it with how stiff it is, specifically from the knee up. But just for like this one time, like I actually played decent in it, and like watching this footage back when I got home, I was actually kind of surprised uh, at how I looked using it because I thought I was going to look a lot more awkward using it. But like I don't know if I didn't tell you like I felt uncomfortable using it, you probably wouldn't guess that I did feel uncomfortable using it. So I think it's just for me, it's a big feel thing, and I'm a big feel guy when it comes to this type of stuff. Like I need to feel comfortable with my pads. I'm just a beer league guy. I'm not a pro, so I'll sacrifice some performance to just feel more comfortable, just because I don't want to be miserable out there. But like as far as performance, man, this stuff is great. It's and like the comparison I would kind of say between like the Mach and like the Hyperlight line is the Hyperlight is just kind of a more forgiving pad, and the Mach or Supreme line is kind of just like the high performance pad. Not that Hyperlight doesn't have performance; it's got a lot of that same performance, but it's just more of a forgiving pad. That's why you see most of the NHL guys are in the Mach or that Supreme line of pad. And a lot of times you see, even if guys have the Hyperlight graphic, it's just that they reskinned it to be that way because Bauer wants some of their guys in that graphic. But usually, like the elite level guys are going to go for the Mach just because of the little bit more of a performance benefit of it. If you play golf, for instance, you kind of know how like with golf irons, there's some that are made for more forgiveness and some that are made for like a higher level of player. So it's kind of along those lines, if you want to put it that way. Again, not trying to put down the Hyperlight at all, saying it's for like bad players or whatever. It's just that it's definitely meant to be a little more comfortable, a little more forgiving. Whereas this is just pure performance. These things. So yeah, like I was saying, the sliding was great. Rebounds get kicked out. The seal and everything was good. The post integration was good. Like I had no complaints about that. It's literally just it didn't feel comfortable for me. and like doing this little goalie resting hunch thing, the classic goalie resting hunch. Well, that even wasn't comfortable. Look, I think in this clip right here, I'm even kind of messing with it, trying to get it to bend a little bit, and it won't. Because when I'm doing that little hunch down, the tops of the pads were kind of digging into my lower abdomen because they don't bend, flex at all, really. Whereas with the pads that I like and usually use, they do. So that's just another way in which it felt uncomfortable. Moving on to talk about the glove. Look, the break of the glove is just not what I like. So again, similar to with the pads, it's not a knock against the glove, but I just can't use that break. It just felt so weird. Um, and unless I caught the puck like perfectly in the in the pocket, I wasn't catching that great with it, and it just felt awkward because another reason is I like my gloves to be really like open really wide and be like a pancake, and this thing is a little more of like an oblong shape, like a football type shape glove, and so I didn't like that either. But just the break in general didn't feel comfortable at all. It's a light glove. It's thinned out, which are things I normally like, but just the feel of it, I could not get over that. And for me, the feel of the glove and the break angle is huge. I mean, I almost pretty much can only use like a 590 60-degree glove. That's all I like. Nothing else really feels good enough for me to be able to use consistently. So yeah, I mean, there's really not much I can say about the glove because the break angle right off the bat kind of makes me. I knew I was gonna have a bad time with it. Um, Trying to see maybe I can just kind of talk about certain plays that are happening here if one happens to come along. This is only about 10 minutes of footage. I just took it with my phone. This is like kind of a last minute thing, but I wanted to take advantage of being able to use it and do a little mini review on it. I will say that using this though did make me go ahead and order a custom Hyperlight 2 set because I was thinking if I was able to play decent enough with these pads, like imagine what how it would feel in pads I actually feel comfortable in and like. And I mean, just based on using the Hyperlight 1, I'm pretty sure I'm going to like the Hyperlight 2. So if it's, got some of the same performance of these and it's more comfortable, I'm really excited to use the Hyperlight 2 stuff. So I recently just placed that order. So it's going to be a little bit, 8 weeks or so for Bauer, pretty quick. But I will be getting a Hyperlight 2 set, and so look out for videos on that. Pretty excited about that after using these. So, I mean, if you do like this style of pad and that break of glove, I do think this is an excellent set. I mean, I've been saying this for a while. Like Bauer, I think if we're just talking about performance of gear, Bauer for me is at the top. Now that being said, I don't use Bauer as my main stuff. I use Vaughn because reiterating again, it's the being comfortable in my gear. I just need that. And nothing else feels like the Vaughn stuff for me as far as being comfortable out there playing. And it has pretty good performance too, especially with the new V10 stuff. I have videos on that if you're interested. But yeah, pure performance like Bauer's hard to beat. For me, I would put him up there at the top for that kind of stuff. So, if you've used Bauer before and you like it, you're gonna love these. Like I said, if you like this style of pad and maybe you haven't used Bauer before, I highly recommend giving it a try. Um, let's see. Hopefully something happens here. Coming up, lull in the action here. All right. Yeah, great. Yeah, that was really exciting stuff there. Sorry. Again, I just needed kind of something because I don't have access to the gear right now. Usually in my reviews, I have the gear in front of me and I can kind of show the camera and stuff. But since I didn't, I figured I would just talk over this video. So at least you can see me using the gear. Like I said, because it's not my gear, so I just used it for this session, gave it back to my buddy. Um, I don't think there's much more time left on this anyway. Trying to think if there's anything else I can talk about. Um, Even though the pads are, like I said, too stiff for me, how I normally use it. Um, like skating around with it wasn't too bad. Like I didn't really feel like a lot of interference between the tops of the two pads, which often happens with this style of pad. Um, Again, because they're really thinned out. I mean, they might be the thinnest and most lightweight. I don't know, maybe Warrior. I haven't used Warrior in a while, and I know back when I did use them, they were probably like the thinnest and most lightweight pads. But these are just if you put as soon as you put these on your legs, they're just like crazy light. Um, so with my Hyperlight 2 stuff, like I said, I got them custom, and I got a few custom after talking with Whack at Pure Goalie. I got a few custom like options changed with the build. Nothing huge, it's kind of like glove liner stuff or kind of like a certain kind of strapping or whatever. So you'll see it when I do the videos with that. Some of it is Mach related. So again, even though I knew ultimately this wasn't like the pad for me, this is why it can be good to just try anything you can, because there are some things I took from the Mach line that I went with on the Hyperlight 2 custom order. So always good to try things when you can. Always be open to it. I believe that was the end of the video. Yeah. Okay. So now I am going to show you guys the video of me just in the locker room going over the gear so you can kind of see more of a close-up version of it. All right, guys, so now we're on to this part of the video where I kind of just show you more of a close-up. I'm going to use the scrolling function on my phone just because I took this video really quick because I was about to leave, and it just struck me like, oh, I should take a quick video close-up of this stuff, and it was just real quick. So it's easier if I kind of pause on certain things so you can see things better and then scroll. So first, let's look at the blocker. As you see, it has a Nash palm, and if you look where the wrist cuff is, it's pretty open. It's actually more open than the Hyperlight blocker. A little more close up of that. As you can see, it's kind of, if you're comparing it to the Hyperlight, it's thicker. Again, I did a whole video straight up comparing the Hyperlight to the Mach blocker. So really look at that if you want to see a comparison. Yeah, so I really no point wasting too much time on the blocker. Has that nice solid sidewall, which I really love. That's like the main feature I love about the Bauer blockers. So then, okay, moving on to the glove. I love that this part that I'm flexing here with my hand. That's the only part I like on the Mach glove. Because like I said, the break angle and whatnot, it just feels terrible for me on my hand. But that little backhand piece, because it's kind of its own separate piece that's only attached with elastic, it allows for really good wrist flexion because that comes up like that if you want to flex your wrist. The Hyperlight glove does not have that same design in the back. I wish it did. So here you see kind of more the shape of the glove, and as I talked about, it's kind of like that football oblong shape, and it doesn't open up very well. Yeah, see, I'm kind of showing that here. But ultimately, like I said, it's the break of the glove. I just it completely ruins it. Not much to say when the glove, because of the break of the glove, it just feels terrible for you. The kind of backhand protection there is pretty solid. They use their, I guess they're still using their curved composite stuff or whatever kind of carbon they're using in there. But that's always been solid. No issues with protection on the glove. This is a just game ready whatever glove. So, if you're concerned about protection in the pocket part, in the palm, on the front, when catching stuff, you might want to go with a beefed up version. I didn't really use this enough and get enough shots there to really make a judgment call on that. But in general, I use game ready gloves and have no problem with it. I've used game ready Hyperlight glove and had no problem with it myself. So I wouldn't think the Mach would be a problem for me either. It's just like I said, the break of it sucks. So now we'll move on to the leg pad. You can see, how it's talking about how straight it is. There's, a slight angle at the knee, but in general, it's pretty straight and it does not bend. It's extremely stiff. The boot does have a little more give than some of the Supreme line of pads I've used in the past. Like I said, I didn't use the Ultrasonic, but I used the 1S, I used the 2S, and now I've tried the Mach. The Ultrasonic is the only one I've never played with at all. But the boot on this did feel a little more soft, or you know, has more bend to it than I remember past Supreme line of pads having, which I do like. Take a look at the strapping. You got the knee that I strap down to the calf. That's the like outer calf strap there, and then you got their tune fit strapping. This is what it comes with stock. This is interchangeable. You can interchange it with like what's on the tune fit version that's on the Hyperlite, which is a little different than this. It's almost more like a simplified kind of just two elastic straps instead of this has kind of like almost like a brace, I guess you might call it. I mean, this felt fine. It's just the only thing I will say is it, much like a lot of pads I've been reviewing lately, I felt like it was a little tight, and I even loosened it kind of about as much as you can, and it still felt a little tighter than I would prefer. I mean, it wasn't like it worked, but I would like to be able to maybe loosen it a little more, not have it so as tight as it is. And I don't know why all these companies are doing such tight strapping at the calf, but yeah. And then, oh, I think another thing is that Bauer has a huge calf pillow. So that was a thing for a while where everyone started putting calf pillows in their pads, and now I feel like they're kind of getting away from it. Like Vaughn didn't put it on their V10s. The calf pillow on the new Trues is almost non-existent. It technically has one, but it's like a third the size of this, if that. But this does have a huge calf pillow. You know, to be honest, that's something that feels comfortable on your calf when you're down and whatever. I don't know that it really makes a huge difference. You know, when I've been using some of these pads without it and some with it, I don't notice really a performance benefit. Um, yeah, it's just I don't know. The claim is that it helps bring the pad down to the ice quicker. Maybe, but it's probably something that it's such a minute amount of time difference that unless you're in a study, in a lab situation, it's not anything I really notice personally. And the knee block, as has been now for a few generations of Bauer pad, you can't see it too good here. There, see it a little better there. The knee block is integrated into the pad. This is the Stabila Slide, which is the stiffer knee block. The Hyperlite has the Stabila Flex. If you're going custom, you can interchange that. But so I've used it. I've used the Stabila Flex before on the Hyperlite. Again, this is all kind of, they claim it helps with weight or power transfer and bringing the pad down to the ice a little bit. I, yeah, maybe a little bit. I don't know. I didn't think it was a huge difference, as I was expecting maybe to notice more of a difference with that. I don't think it's a huge difference. But it's the way most companies are going now. I mean, even my Vaughn now has partial integration into the pad, not as much as these Bowers, but just the way things are going. I, again, kind of like the calf pillow, I personally don't notice a huge difference. I mean, I guess it's better than a super floppy knee block like how Vaughn used to have, but yeah, it's not like a night and day thing, I would say, for me. But yeah, that's about it with the pad. The pad comes with a bungee. You don't really see it here, but it comes with a bungee toe tie thing. Yeah. The only other thing I would say is, so these are size medium, and I use medium in the Hyperlite. Definitely, that's my size in the Hyperlite. And while, I mean, you saw me using these in the other video, and they were fine. I didn't have any problem using it. Like as far as the size goes, like I can wear definitely a medium in Bauer, but I think just because of the style of it, how stiff and straight it is, if I for some reason was like forced to use this pad instead of being able to go with a Hyperlite, I probably would maybe go small with a size small just to, I don't know, try to mitigate that stiff straight thigh rise sticking up how it does with these. Uh, but yeah, in general, I am a medium in Bauer, and 34 in Vaughn. So that kind of translate because of medium in Bauer is 34 also. I have a ankle to knee of 17.5, a floor to knee of about 20.5. So if you're wondering about sizing, those are just some numbers I'll throw out at you. So yeah, this has just been my little mini review of the Bauer Mach series. Um, you know, Normally I prefer to do a little more in depth and get more use out of it, but it's what I could do with these, and I figure a little something is better than nothing for anybody who's interested in the Mach. So hope you can get a little bit out of this. That's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.